Lawrence Lepard just dropped a bombshell about Bitcoin's next major move, and if he's right, we're about to witness a global financial earthquake. Today, we're breaking down key insights from financial expert Lawrence Lepard, focusing on Bitcoin's role amidst inflation, geopolitical shifts, and Trump's surprising moves on Bitcoin policy. We're diving deep into the most critical and explosive insights from Lepard's analysis, and I'll be adding my own 2 Satoshis along the way, so stay tuned.
Bitcoin is booming. Are you cashing in or missing out? At Drip2BTC, we're rewriting the rules of Bitcoin investing. Earn up to 30% ROI on your deposits, unlock incredible Bitcoin discounts, and transform credit into up to 3,000% APR growth. No hassle, just real results. Don't wait, your future is one deposit away. Drip2BTC.com. Invest smart today.
Just need to understand is that we do live in an inflationary environment now. It's likely to persist for at least 10 years or until we address the problem seriously. And therefore, what people need to do to protect themselves is to invest in or buy or be exposed to things that the government can't inflate. And the best one is Bitcoin. The second best one is gold. So, that's really kind of the easy, summary bottom line. There's a lot more behind that. And by the way, how we get from here to there, it's going to be messy. I mean, Bitcoin could go to 140, it could come back to 70. I mean, these are volatile assets. And, history shows in changing monetary systems like what we're going through right now, you gotta know what you're doing. You've got to have conviction because there will be volatility.
That kind of hit home for me. I don't know about you guys, but it seemed, just an innocent statement, but he's the part about an inflationary period for the next 10 years. I don't have the data up right now, but basically what we pay on the US debt in just interest alone outpaces what we are currently taking in for GDP. So we're in this debt spiral, like something has to change or something's going to break. And going to a Bitcoin standard, or at least putting Bitcoin on the balance sheets with the US government and setting a Bitcoin standard to acquire it in the strategic Bitcoin reserve can actually offset this debt spiral. But the fact that he's saying like over the next 10 years, it's just like kind of inflationary doom and gloom. And then this ties directly into Raoul Pal's thesis of how we have until 2030, 2032, I can't remember what he said, to basically capture as much wealth or get as rich as possible before things, not that they're going to just blow up, but they're going to become more uncertain, more unfamiliar. So our entire financial economic model is based off of humans and how we interact and how we've always done things. The more and more we get integrated with AI and start leveraging AI tools, that's where he's saying he has no idea what this would look like. Not that we're not going to have money anymore, but it's just going to be, how do you manage that environment? And nobody has any answer because we have no idea what it's going to actually look like. A lot of forecasts saying, the more we use AI, the more they're going to need to interact in this financial model without the current guardrails of what humans use, where we have bank accounts and fiat currency and interacting in person and using your ID and all that stuff. Like, they need to be able to do things autonomously, online, and by themselves, and transparently, verifiably as well, right? So that's where Bitcoin rails, things of that nature come into play. So Michael Saylor's thesis is that everything will be built on top of Bitcoin because it is the most transparent layer and ledger out there. And then we can scale for speed with some of the other protocols that they're building on top. So all that just, to say that it's 10 years of inflation and then the next 6 to 8 to capture wealth, it's like, damn, there is really not a lot of time. So let's explore the next clip where we dissect what Lawrence thinks the mark is headed to and what you can do to protect yourself going forward.
Content. Thanks for joining us again. Enjoy the video.
I'm not sure if the Oman stuff has been made public or not, but maybe it has. I think the Saudi Arabia stuff has not been made public, but the word I was getting was that these other countries in the Middle East, countries with enormous wealth, were beginning to embrace Bitcoin as a form of digital gold, and they were stacking, and that they were actually there to, among other things, ask Trump's son and Manafort, hey, we're thinking of doing more of this, we're thinking of announcing it. And I was told by the Policy Institute guys that the U.S. response back was, yeah, it's all great, we're very supportive, but just don't jump in front of us. Let us do our thing first, and then go ahead and announce it. So, as I say, to me, that's just huge. I mean, there's trillions of dollars in these countries, and and they've traditionally been sound money countries. I mean, the Arab culture loves gold, the precursor to Bitcoin, and so if they're now learning to make the jump from being investors in gold to investors in Bitcoin, that's a really big deal, in my opinion. So I couldn't have been more bulled up coming out of the conference. And you always hear these things, and then you wait and see, well, is it really going to happen, right? Is Trump really going to deliver? Are we going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve? And then there were some disappointing things with the Trump coin, the Melania coin, and all the other shit coins getting put into another, bucket. But at the end of the day, he came through. And although they have not announced plans to buy a lot, they've announced that they're intending to buy if they can do it in a revenue neutral way. And they've said they're not going to sell. And, and then the Loomis bill today, as you probably saw, has picked up some additional sponsors. And so, this is how it happens, right? Slowly but surely, the consensus grows that this is the asset to own. There's obviously more work that needs to be done, but it's a big win. Let's face it. It could, be nice to have it enacted through legislation so that if we have Team Blue winning in 4 years, they can't undo it, right? Right. But I think, even Team Blue, has caught some heat because, didn't they sell almost an equal number of coins? And, they left $17 billion on the table as a result of selling those at much lower prices. So I feel like, we've got knowledge now at the highest levels of the U.S. government that this is an important strategic asset to hold. And that's a big deal. And so now every other country in the world has to focus on, if this becomes the neutral reserve currency, and anyone who studies what's going on knows that we need a neutral reserve currency as a result of Triffitt's dilemma, they might start asking, well, and many of them, by the way, have bet on gold. We know China, for example, has bet hugely on gold, has a lot more gold than they say they have based on the import-export data. And so, they're going to have to sit there and say to themselves, are we making the right bet? Because this is digital gold and it's better than gold in many respects.
Just going to pause there because he goes off, starts talking about gold and acquiring gold and things of that nature in the Fort Knox audit. But one thing that kind of glossed over, and they didn't go into much detail, is that he said he's not sure if it's public or not, but some talks about the Middle Eastern countries looking at acquiring Bitcoin as digital gold. And then he said something about Trump's son or the administration said that's fine, just don't jump ahead of us. Now, I have no idea how privy Lawrence Leverett is to these backroom deals, things of that nature. But if you studied the petrodollar and how that shaped up in the previous administrations, that would not surprise me if there are some plays in the works, because the U.S. is still, whether you like it or not, still kind of got a seat at the table and gets to ebb and flow how everything goes due to being the global reserve currency. So no one has moved over to a different reserve. They may trade, like right now with BRICS doing some Bitcoin trades, but the US still controls that ebb and flow. So someone like the Middle East, who does a lot of exports in oil and tied to the US dollar, that would make a lot of sense that if the US decided to do something with Bitcoin, like they're announcing and have they shown already, that it would talk to these other nations, be like, hey, we're going to get into this and we need you to back it, but don't front run us. So that is huge. And he just kind of like dropped that like just innocently, nonchalantly, but that has some huge implications. And we already kind of know that this is what's going to happen with the US making their announcement and now seeing BRICS and stuff talking about that as well. But I don't know when this shapes up. So it all depends on how long it takes for all this to start making the ripples before it becomes a tidal wave. But again, looking at M2 and how that's already ticking up. So by the first week of April, latest second week of April, we should already start to see the Bitcoin price climb. And then as things continue to go forward with legislation, administration, making these deals, the strategic Bitcoin reserve, all this stuff, like it's just too many catalysts for people to ignore the writing on the wall. So if you have not dipped your toe into Bitcoin, you are going to get left behind. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. Like, all signs point to Bitcoin as still, at this stage in the game and in the cycle, as having a massive run this year. Like, everybody's upset because we went from 110 to 77. And if it's your first rodeo, that can definitely be jarring. But if you look back at the other charts, you'll see history on the charts, you'll see that this is par for the course. And then seeing all of this stuff happen with these nation states, institutional adoption, all this stuff, it's just like, yeah, you got to be insane or just deranged to not see the opportunity that's ahead of you. I can't speak for any of the alts. I have no idea how those are going to shape up. I'm gambling on some of them, but that's why you use the Raoul Pal don't fuck this up thesis, 80% in Bitcoin, and you should come out of this ahead, especially if you're getting in now, or even if you got in at the top at the 110, about 4 to 6 weeks ago. If you hold for, the next couple years, or at least until I'd say the end of 2026, sorry. I think you still got till mid to end of 2026 in the cycle. That's just my thesis. All right, that's the only clip I wanted to play, those two pieces from Lawrence Leopard. Let me know what you guys think about, especially the Middle East part. Is that bullish? Think it's just hearsay? Do you think it lines up with how things are controlled and narratives are written? Love to know your thoughts in comments. Smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See you.
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Spritz Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.